Yo, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Sox Talk on Tap. Today we've got, pretty loaded episode. We've got a bunch of stuff to talk about. But first off, we're going to get into the main event for tonight for baseball. All-Star break is officially here. Jake and I's teams finished pretty good. Red Sox and Twins both in the wild card as of the All-Star break. So good first half of the season. Now to get into arguably the most entertaining part of the season, the home run derby, and just kind of giving our predictions on who's going to win. It's tough with the new, format to predict, each round. But Jake, I kind of want to get your thoughts on who you think is going to win. We've got some pretty big names in this, some pretty unexpected names, guys like Bobby Witt. I know he definitely has power, but he's not really known as just a pure home run hitter. So I'm curious to see who you think.
So I looked at this list, and I know a guy like Gunnar Henderson has a lot of home runs, and I love the Orioles, but I feel like he's just not the type of guy that wins this. And Alec Bohm, kind of same situation, Bobby Witt as well, and I like J Ram, but I think he's like a guy that can make the second round. But for me, Pete Alonso, obviously, I think has won this twice, but I just don't think he'll win it again. Just saying my gut. I kind of was locked down between Teoscar Hernandez, Marcell Ozuna, and Adolis Garcia, but you can only pick one. But I figured, why not? I'm gonna go with a sleeper pick, maybe. I'm gonna go with Teoscar Hernandez to win the home run derby this season. I think.
Okay.
He's got the power, a little bit on the bigger side, can just so even if he has, some that's the difference, I think, in the home run derby. Like a guy like, a skinnier guy like Bobby Witt, maybe we'll have to put like all his weight into some things to get it out. And it's like, I think one of the bigger guys like Teoscar, can just, not have his best swing, but still have enough just to get it out a little bit and make it the little bit of a difference when it comes down to it. So I'm liking Teoscar Hernandez and the Dodgers to bring home the home run derby award.
Okay. I like that sleeper pick. I don't think a lot of people are picking him, but, we've seen highlights of him this year. He hits, absolute bombs. And, I might be wrong in saying this, but I'm pretty sure they juice the home run derby balls, which I'm a fan of just because, so we can see, 490-foot home runs. Yeah. But I agree with you. Some of these guys, like Alec Bohm, I know he's having an incredible year, but I just don't think he has a home run derby swing. Like he's a guy that hits a ton of doubles. I'm pretty sure he's in like the mid-30s when it comes to doubles, leads the league. So he has a great swing, but it's just not built for this. And a guy like Gunnar Henderson is kind of the same to me. Like he's not a guy who's trying to hit the ball out of the park every time. That's not his type of swing. He has a nice, level, even lefty swing, and he just so happens to, he runs into pitches that he can hit out of the ballpark. But for my pick, I'm between two different guys, and it's kind of, I have my own little philosophy. I may have touched on it. A lot of these guys right now are well in playoff contention. Teoscar Hernandez, Marcell Ozuna, Gunnar Henderson, Jose Ramirez, Bobby Witt. All those guys are, their teams are really pushing either to make the playoffs or, the Orioles and the Guardians are obviously well in the playoffs. They're pushing for the 1 seed. So when you look at that, those guys do not want to mess up their swing because they're all having great years at the plate. They're all contributing very much to their offense. And we've seen it before where the home run derby can really screw up your swing the second half of the year. If you're just swinging for the fences every time, it gets tiring. It, gets very repetitive, which can change your swing. So for that, I'm taking all of those guys out of the competition for me. I think, a guy like Gunnar Henderson, I can see losing in the first round because, on the Orioles, he's probably their best offensive producer up to this point in the season. They don't want him messing anything up. They don't want him getting hurt, screwing his swing up, blah, 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 all that stuff. Two guys I have are either Pete Alonso or Adolis Garcia because I know the Mets are in right now, but they're very on the fence, and the Rangers are kind of out of it. I know they're making a late push, but
sleeping on the champs.
But I gotta I think I'm going to go with Adolis Garcia. I know Pete Alonso's done it, but it's just, hometown effect. He's playing for his home crowd. He's going to feel a little extra juice. He's obviously a really big dude. Hits a ton of moon shots, really. Like we saw how crazy he went in the playoffs last year. So for those reasons, all those reasons combined, I think this is going to be, the Rangers and Adolis Garcia's crowning event for this season. And it's going to be, hoisting that home run derby championship in front of the hometown so that they can have something to root for.
Mm-hmm.
But, if I had to pick one of those playoff guys, I think I'm going to go Marcell Ozuna.
I like that. Yeah.
I'm
Obviously, Adolis and Marcell were my top three.
Yeah. I'm still picking Adolis just because, the playoff factor. And Ozuna's been insane for the Braves this year. Out of all those guys in that stacked lineup,
He's probably the best hitter this year.
Yeah, he's hitting, over 300. I think he has 26 or 27 home runs right now, ton of RBIs. He's been one of the main reasons they've been in the playoff race since Acuna went down. So big shout out to Marcell Ozuna having a career year. But that's really, that's going to be my pick, Adolis Garcia. So hopefully we can come back to this tomorrow.
We'll be right back here tomorrow.
Maybe those two face off in the finals, Teoscar versus Adolis. That would be super fun to watch. They're hitting,
That decides who has the more ball knowledge right there. Whoever wins.
Yep, we'll see. Yep, that's purely what we're going to go off of. Who wins the home run derby? If nobody wins, if none of our picks win it, if Gunnar Henderson goes out and wins it, then we both look dumb.
Yeah, well, it is home run derby. It's never the guy really with the most home runs that wins it.
Right. It's the guy you don't really expect.
Yeah, it's always a sleeper pick.
Yep. That might be why your pick is a good one, but yeah, it's going to be exciting. I'm excited to watch that. But anyways, now I'm going to kind of get into the players of the weekend. Jake, are you going to stick around or you want me to, go over these?
Oh, I'll just stick around. I'll let you cook up. You want? The fans want to hear from you, the subscribers.
All right. Well, anyways, let's get into the players of the weekend for this, past weekend, July 12th to 14th. Very hot weekend, at least on the East Coast for us. It was very, very warm. So the ball was flying. And first guy off this list, had to give a shout out to Lawrence Butler. This might be the only time we name an Oakland player all season for, player of the weekend, player of the week, whatever you want to call it. I know Brent Rooker's having a great year. He could get traded, but Lawrence Butler this weekend, 4 homers, 8 RBIs, 3 homers against the Phillies yesterday in an insane game. I think the A's hit 8 homers yesterday. So, I know they're having
they had a game against the Orioles like a week ago where it was like the same exact thing. Yep. So maybe everyone's sleeping on the A's offense for the second half push.
Yeah, A's could be a sleeper offense. They got some home run hitters there. It's just, their best pitcher is the guy that, comes in the 9th inning, and by then they're usually losing. So big shout out to Lawrence Butler. I know he's a good young hitter. He's got a ton of power. And now next, this one I had to suffer through the whole game was Cole Reagans. Obviously, we got to give a shout out to a pitcher, and he absolutely diced up the Red Sox. I've touched on it before, the Red Sox problems against left-handed pitchers, and he put it on full display that night. He seemingly was unhittable. I think one lefty. I think Devers was the only lefty that had a hit off of him, and it didn't really matter. Gave up 1 run in 7 innings. He was pretty much untouchable and proved why he's an all-star. And when I saw his record going into the game at 5-6, I was shocked coming out of it. How a pitcher like him has that record. But big shout out to Cole Reagans. I know, Jake, you're a fan of him. It's been a huge pickup for Kansas City ever since they got him last year in that Aroldis Chapman trade. He's a guy I'd love to have on my team, but can't have them all. And then finally, another shout out to one of the bottom of the barrel teams, Ezequiel Tovar. He went off this weekend against the Mets, 583 average, 7 hits, 3 doubles, 4 RBIs, had 2 home runs yesterday in an 8-5 win. I know they had a crazy game. I believe it was Friday night where there was, just homers back and forth. Harrison Bader had 2 homers. Jose Iglesias had 2 homers. I think there was somebody on Colorado that had 2 or 3 homers. So big homer weekend in New York between those two teams. Rockies might have a sneaky good lineup. I know their pitching isn't great, but they might have some home run
How much
hitters.
of it is playing in Coors Field, though?
Hey, this is in New York, though. So,
Oh.
I mean,
No,
these
I
games
know, but when you say lineup, like, no, this was a great weekend. I'm just saying, like, in general, like,
yeah,
how
no,
much of their
the
stats are inflated.
The Coors aspect.
Only Chris Bryant could, join the party.
Yeah, that's talk about a rough signing. He
Yeah.
should have gone back to Chicago. But we're not here to diss on anybody. We're here to shout out players of the week. Now I'm gonna get into it. Jake, I'm not sure how much you tuned in. I was kind of watching it throughout the night last night, the MLB draft, and one thing I wanted to touch upon, just because this is Sox Talk on Tap, we do got to talk about the Red Sox at some point, and I'm very curious. I'm not sure, like I said, how much you watched it, but I've seen all over Twitter, all over social media, Red Sox analysts, media people, whoever, fans are really buzzing about this pick. Braden Montgomery, he's an outfielder from Texas A&M they were a top team this year. And I believe he broke his ankle in the Super Regional, which is like right before the College World Series tournament. But before that, he was like a projected top 5 pick. He's a switch hitting bat, got a ton of power. He's a really, really good defender. And so some people are saying this could be the steal of the draft. I know the Red Sox are already pretty loaded in their farm system when it comes to hitting prospects. I was more so hoping for a pitcher, but after doing some more deep diving, this was a pretty good pick. Hagen Smith was kind of the guy I wanted, but I figured he would not fall to 12. He's a really good pitcher that Chicago got. But Jake, did you tune in at all to the draft, or were you tuned in?
I was keeping an eye. I mainly, even though they're not, the best experts, I mainly just, rely on, analysis just to learn about all these guys. And I did see a couple articles about the Red Sox pick. I, just kind of keeping tabs. I was also just going through the CBS sports grades, kind of seeing where they graded every kind of pick. And I saw maybe the Marlins had one of the worst picks of the night. So no surprise there. Miami Marlins kind of doing themselves dirty. But yeah, no, I think, whenever you get a guy, that projection that maybe an injury, bumps them out, it goes one of two ways typically. Either they are the steal of the draft or they just have an injury riddled career. Obviously hoping the best for them. But yeah, as of right now, you got to take your shots and you go for talent and what's the best available. So good job by the Red Sox there.
He was the best available at 12.
Yeah.
He was showing, all over the, draft boards on ESPN and everything when the Red Sox were picking. So they did, according to the analysts, they got the best available guy. So I won't complain. I'm not going to make any judgment calls because he hasn't even stepped on a professional field yet.
Yeah.
I'm hoping for the best when it comes to him, not just because it's a, Red Sox player, but these guys are, some of them are younger than us. A lot of these kids were drafted out of high school, so you don't really want to be the one hating on a high schooler. I hope for the best in all these guys. Shout out, all these the high school kids that got drafted. I'm trying to remember. I know Connor Griffin was, I believe, the first high schooler drafted. He's outfielder, pitching prospect, and we're seeing a bunch of those now. Now that Shohei Ohtani has really set the table for those guys, Jack Caglione, drafted by the Royals. He's a guy who
wants their Ohtani.
Exactly. And, he's an impossible guy to replicate, but he's definitely opened the door for two-way players because really before Ohtani, I remember it was nobody ever was thinking of a legit two-way player. We obviously saw, National League pitchers hit just because that was the rule in the NL, and there would be some good hitters. I know, like Madison Bumgarner. He was a pretty good hitter. But he wasn't Ohtani. He wasn't hitting 40 home runs and then going out there and striking out 200 guys in a year. So Ohtani's one of one. Regardless, I don't care if the number 1 overall pick is insane. I highly, highly doubt they're going to be what Ohtani is, but it's exciting to see for baseball. We're seeing a bunch of new things. I know I can't remember his name. I think it's Gerangelo. He was drafted by the Mariners. He's a switch pitcher. The first switch pitcher to get drafted in the first round out of Mississippi State. Yeah, I think he throws like 98 plus from both arms. So that's going to be super fun to watch. Like if he can get up to the major league level, because that's, you don't see it. Like the last time we saw it was over 10 years ago, and it was a pitcher for the Athletics. I remember he did it against the Red Sox. That's why everyone was talking about it, but he hasn't really pitched since. But if this kid's going in the first round, even as a switch pitcher, he's obviously got the stuff to do it. So some exciting young talent out of the draft this year. I'm excited for these guys to come up. The Guardians had the number 1 pick. They got the best player in Travis Bazzana. So that's kind of unfair that, the
Guardians go from first place in the AL to number 1 pick as well. So
yeah,
it's great.
That's the draft lottery for you, though. Like they were projecting, I think, like the 10th pick last year, and they ended up getting all the way up to 1. So tanking, the lottery is tanking.
Yeah. But yeah, should be very exciting to see these kids come up in a couple of years. We're still here talking about them, what they do. But yeah, with that being said, home run derby tonight, All-Star weekend, got the All-Star game. Should be tons of fun. Also, just got a break, not have to stress every night. But the wild card race for the Red Sox, Twins, Royals, and the National League, basically every team besides the Marlins. So should be, fun. Just enjoy, sit back, watch some home run, watch some guys smash some baseballs, and then watch the best players in the All-Star game coming up. So should be a fun early week as we, kick off a couple of days off, rightfully deserved, from stress-free baseball. But like you said, should be fun. And Nick will obviously be here tomorrow to recap the home run derby and maybe some other fun stuff. But with that being said, make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy this kind of content, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.